So, Happy New Year. In the background we have Alex and probably Sam at some point as well right now. This is the podcast that we recorded way before New Year's. And now they're doing a thing.
Here we go now. What you say, girl? Here we go.
Okay. So, this is the New Year's Day, well, sort of 2nd of January right now. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Hedonist Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/The Hedonist Pod. And keep your eyes and ears open for the first recording in the new year, which will happen tonight. And then we'll see how lazy I am in getting it up. Anyway, till after the podcast, I guess. Bye-bye.
If you missed that, Fred just called Adobe Premiere Adobe Premiere without the E at the end.
Yeah, but you know, I'm a fucking foreigner. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, welcome back, Sam.
Hello, man. I'm really frequenting this podcast.
Yeah, it's
like
good.
Recently. No, I love it. I don't mind at all.
I like it as well.
I hope I'm not the audience's least favorite guest. So they're just like, fuck, 3 days in a row, Sam's here. God, what a bore.
We had John aboard as well.
Do we have what?
Jonathan.
Oh yeah, here he is.
Yeah. Jonathan was on board as well. One episode between.
Oh, okay. So I totally thought you were making a joke. Like, you remember when I had Kermit come? Yeah, I thought you were like, and we have Jonathan on board too. And I was like, oh yeah, Jonathan's here. And then you were like, yeah, he was here a couple weeks. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I was about to pull out a voice for whoever this guy Jonathan was.
I see.
I'm Jonathan. I'm 87,000 years old and I eat only cranberries.
Cranberries?
Only cranberries. That's the only thing I eat.
Holy hell, the mic is spiking, Sam.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Well, when you're an old guy, you gotta talk like you're Bill Cosby mixed with a potato.
No, you see, when you're doing an old man, you need to keep it low.
No, he's a crazy old man. He goes nuts. He's woo, biggie baggy boogie. That's what he says.
Definitely. Welcome back to the Hedonist Podcast, everyone.
Hello.
As usual, we will be talking about loads of shit.
Yeah.
And if you're offended by any of the shit that we'll be speaking, stick around to the end and shoot us a tweet or, whatever. And then we'll politely tell you to go fuck yourself. So anyway, what have you been up to lately?
Well, I have been making music still. I just realized we didn't talk to each other about what we were going to discuss today on the podcast. We just sort of started it.
No, let's just fucking wing it.
Yeah, we'll swing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, music.
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened with the music?
Yeah.
Well, I made it.
You made it.
Yeah.
Fantastic
story,
Yeah,
I made the song, and then the song was completed.
All right. What kind of genre is it? What can we expect to hear?
It's music.
Yeah, it's music.
It's definitely music. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I did. And then I finished it.
Yeah, but what genre of music would you say it falls under?
Probably faster music. Like fast music. Yeah.
And what specific type of fast music?
Well, it's probably like emotional fast music.
Emotional fast music. Mm-hmm. Would you care to specify some more?
No.
Oh, come on.
Nope.
Come on.
Nope.
You gotta specify some more.
Okay, it's electronic dance music.
All right.
EDM.
Is it EDM or is it chiptune? Is that the other stuff you do?
Both. Yeah. It's a chiptune EDM. It has a big old chiptune build-up. I'll send it to you and you can put it in the beginning of this.
Yeah, remember to send it this time, because last time you...
I didn't.
No.
Yeah, I didn't.
You were like, yeah, I've composed this new song. And I was like, sweet, we'll put it in the music break. Just send it to me on Facebook and then as soon as you get home.
I didn't.
No, you didn't. And I was
Have you released that one yet?
Yeah, that one is out.
And there's no music break?
There is a music break with other music from you.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Alright. Well...
Yeah, so it's very sweet, you know.
So, you were listening to something today and you showed it to me. It's the guy talking about Trump. Or sorry, the Clintons.
Yeah, the Clintons. It's basically... I'll see if I can tweet out this link. Mm-hmm. But just search for MSNBC, Trump, Clinton, something like that. I'll see if I can post the link on Facebook and on fucking Twitter. But basically, Trump had gone out and said that if Hillary started making accusations about him being a sexist and started bringing up that he supported violence against women and stuff, he would have material to shut her down.
Yeah.
And then on MSNBC, it was just this... the atmosphere in the studio when the journalist spoke about it. And he was like, it might be anything from sexual harassment to blah, or even rape. And he seems to know, because he finished it all off with, you know, if Clinton bring this to the table, take out a notepad, because we're all going to learn some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's speculation on the internet. None is confirmed yet. But basically, it's speculation about that Bill might have raped someone violently and had help by Hillary covering it up, or that she would have laughed when confronted with the news or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's pure speculation, so don't quote anything on it.
Yeah.
My guess is that it's gonna be out sooner or later anyway, especially if she's going to run for presidency.
Yeah.
If she receives the nomination, let's hope that never happens.
Yeah, let's hope Bernie gets the nomination.
Yeah.
Although we're not gonna push our political views here on the Hedonist. We appreciate.
I push my political views all the time.
Well, I'm not going to.
No, but I think it's fascinating because it creates a discussion. I know, as an example, I mean, if you look at Alexander and Martin.
Yeah.
Alexander is very, very liberal.
Yeah.
And Martin, he's, I would say he's cultural. Shit. I accidentally pressed pause.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, Martin, I would say that he's, the way he's thinking, he reminds me of a cultural libertarian in that. But he said at some point that he was more of a constitutionalist, which is classic liberal, basically, because the Constitution is a democratic document.
Yeah.
That is worth defending. Free speech, freedom of press, all of that shit. I'm not gonna sit and rabble them all.
Yeah.
But plus, I don't know them all. In all honesty,
there you go.
You know,
that's the truth.
I've read the Constitution a couple of times to be able to point to it in debates and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't have it memorized.
I see.
Do you?
No, not at all. I don't even think I've ever read it once.
What is the 18th Amendment?
The right to poop on your spouse if you've only been married for 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, like, the First Amendment is everything that guarantees everything with freedom of speech, is freedom of gathering. And the Second Amendment is basically guns. And then I think you have some shit in there about the presidency and the way that should be run.
Yeah.
And also, the amendment of prohibition isn't really gone. It's just a new amendment taking away that amendment's power.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Why don't you just remove it then?
Yeah, exactly.
It's political bureaucracy. You gotta fucking love it.
Yep.
No, so anyway, I don't mind having people pushing their agenda because I push mine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not bound up with any political party. All I'm saying is that if the Democrats want to have any chance of winning, if the Republicans actually nominate Trump, they need to nominate Sanders.
Yeah.
Because Trump can just point, I paid for my own fucking presidency campaign, and I'm not bought. And Bernie can say the same. He's not bought. He got collections from people, and he had like a donation roof on, I don't know, was it $35?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So he's completely funded by people.
Yeah.
So whereas Hillary, she's funded by Time Warner Corporation, which owns not only Fox News but also CNN, and I think they also own the NBC since a couple of weeks back. Don't quote me on that. She's also sponsored by the Citigroup, one of the fucking shitty-ass, blood-sucking banker vampires that was responsible for the financial meltdown back in 07-08.
Yeah.
So you know where her fucking allegiance is.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's allegiance is mainly to himself.
And Satan.
And I wouldn't say Satan. I would say he has some questionable values, but all in all, I think he's funny because he removes certain barriers of thinking. And this is just my opinion on it. And it is that once you remove the political correctness, you can start thinking about a problem and start seeing a fucking solution to it.
Right.
Instead of just being afraid about speaking about the subject because you might be considered racist or sexist or whatever. So in that way, I think Donald Trump is good for the political landscape in the US when it comes to conversation and actual problem solving.
Right.
But I also believe that if he is not nominated, he might run independently, and that will completely fuck over the entire thing. And I think Sanders might actually consider doing the same if Trump does. So then all of a sudden there will be 4 candidates, 2 independent and 2 bought. That might be really fucking interesting to watch, because that will be a spectacle.
Yeah, really.
That will be an all-American spectacle worthy of, fucking parades and shit.
Yeah.
I kind of want that to happen.
Yeah, no, I it's... Has that ever happened in history before?
I don't think it's happened here. No. But where I'm from, in Sweden and Norway, both parliaments have between... I don't know about Norway specifically, but they have the socialist left wing. They have the left party, which is the Workers' Party. They have the centre, they have the Christians, they have the right party, and then they have the Forward Party, which is basically the right-wing populist party of Norway. Very critical towards immigration, European Union, and it's so hard to explain because the political landscape, especially in Scandinavia, is so left-wing oriented, and I would say that is true all around Europe. So if you say that someone is a liberal in Sweden, that is the equivalency of you saying that someone is a Tea Party movement, basically, in the social sphere.
I see.
Which is not true.
Yeah. Not at all.
And I mean, it's so askewed, so it's hard to explain. Whereas here you have a very centrist line of it, and then you have the centrist liberals, the centrist conservatives, and then you get, divisions all the way. You don't have proper socialism, which I think is very good, because socialism only leads to bad things. I mean, Sanders, I would say he's a social liberal. If you look through his actual message.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Because he's not saying we are going to end all differences between people. He's just saying that it's okay that there's, a wealth gap as long as the poorest ones are the one that gains the most out of it.
Yeah.
So it's okay that you have a middle class that is richer than the underclass as long as the underclass gets more money out of the deal.
Yeah.
And saying that it's okay for the middle class and there's an overclass that has more money and more resources as long as they gain more, which is supposed to lift everyone. It's basically the trickle-down principle, but in the very pure essence of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The neoliberals kind of converted that.
There's a lot of folks who believe that the trickle-down won't and will never work.
It will work as long as you do it properly.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are saying, Bernie Sanders is not the right candidate to use that. A lot of people think that his strategies for making that work are not.
Well, I mean,
wouldn't function.
Some of his shit is very questionable, like the Robin Hood tax, the 90% thing.
Yeah,
that is going to lead to one thing, and I think he realizes it as well. This is going to be a Gitmo. This is going to be Bernie Sanders Guantanamo Bay if he's elected. Yeah. It's going to be that he's going to be elected into power, and the entire corporate America is basically going to say, if you give us a 90% tax rate, we are just going to move our jobs south of the border or wherever where there's lower taxes.
Yeah.
Which will mean that all fucking major work opportunity providers, even if they are pieces of shit, they are still needed, because otherwise you will have an entire lower class, which is a very big number here in the US, that will be out of employment and everything.
Yeah.
What you can do is like a progressive tax rate.
Yeah.
Just so that it matches. But I would say that the tax rate that is done now is alright. It's just that the kickbacks need to end. We need to practice proper classical liberalism.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just my anal cyst as a foreigner.
No, but I mean it makes sense. Like even foreigner or not.
Yeah.
It's logical. It's logical and it's.
Yeah. So basically, what he's hoping with this Robin Hood tax anyway, it's a good idea. It's just the means of it. It doesn't really work. It's that he wants, more family-driven companies. Mm-hmm. He wants a scale back of capitalism, so that we move away a bit from the imperialistic capitalism that actually exists today. I mean, it's not as bad as fucking left-wingers would have you believe, but there are certain fucking umbrella corporations that owns a lot.
Yeah.
But what he wants is basically an America with more smaller companies that is family-driven and run. And
maybe not family driven and run, but more like just
smaller companies.
Success for the smaller companies. Smaller companies not being bought out and bankrupt because of other companies.
Yeah.
He doesn't think that that's fair, and he wants to give small companies a fighting chance.
So basically, what I can see is instead of increasing the tax rates, you could actually implement a higher minimum wage.
Yeah.
That is one possibility.
I think he's considering he's going to do that too. Yeah,
that is one of the things I think he will do.
Yeah.
What he will force through.
Yeah.
But if he does the 90% and they have to pay extra $5 per hour, there's no way. They're all going to shut down shop and just leave.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, they're just going to leave, which will put the economy in complete stagnation. And that might not be the main concern of the...
But it might be best, it's sort of like that...
no, but
that mentality of, a fish out of water type situation where
I
we're forced
what you
to make, the better decision, where we're forced to make a change, that it's like learning how to walk. You have to fall down on your ass before you learn how to walk.
Yeah, but you can also have training wheels. This is the thing. Every major revolt that way, that has just thrown things about, fallen flat on their ass, has just come out in worse shape. I think France is one of the few successful countries that has had a revolution that turned out better of it.
Right.
Look at every other country where there's been a revolution, where a revolutionary government has been implemented. There's been
America.
America as well. Yeah. But it was not a revolution against people in America. It was a revolution against Europe. It was a revolution against
there
the
was
crown.
a civil war as well. And that turned out okay.
Yeah.
It was
Definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah, America has a good...
And America has been able to live through, not necessarily... We haven't had a revolution since the American Revolution.
Yeah.
But, we have had a lot of changes made through people revolting.
Yeah, but you have to see as well, the people revolting back in the day...
Yes.
The difference between, wartime standard of living and civilian standard of living wasn't as wide as it would be today. Let's say that the entire economy crashes here. People will starve. There won't be enough grain because most of the crop grown in the US is corn.
Yeah.
You have all of these factors that you have to weigh in. Yeah. I don't think that the people in the US would allow that to happen.
No, I don't think so either.
Just based on the standard of living that everyone has.
Yeah.
As much as there are, these horrible cases of people living without electricity and running water, without them choosing it, let's say the Amish, I think the Amish would be the only people that would strive during that crash.
Yeah. Well, here's something that I was thinking about, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure this has been talked about, and I just haven't looked it up. But as far as green energy goes, you were saying earlier about how, if he does make that Robin Hood clause, or tax, Robin Hood tax, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I think 90% tax?
I think that is what it's called.
You're saying, all these companies are just going to move south or north of the border and build, set up shop there and sell to Americans there.
Yeah, but they
but
will
I think
kill the
even if the lower class lost all their jobs from these corrupt corporations, all of those unemployed who have work experience, let's say in factories and assembly lines, things like that, they would be, and I think this is one of Bernie's ideas, they would be put to work building windmills. I mean, I think that in 10 years, the entire nation could be covered in windmills and solar panels, and I think we could be an entirely green nation in 10 years.
Absolutely, but you don't have to overthrow the very system that you exist in for that to happen. Here is where I actually want to tout something that was actually done successfully in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hooray, right? First time I say something good about Sweden on this podcast.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was, when we took the step towards democracy, we had a huge socialist movement in Sweden. There was violence between, the ruling class and the people, the workers. But what happened was that the social democracy that was thrown out by Lenin in Russia, that was what prevailed in Sweden. So instead of a complete revolution and a muckabout of what is going on in the country, the king and the noblesse, they agreed to, okay, we will take gradual steps just to keep the civil order in Sweden.
Right.
Which they did, and it was one of the most successful democratizations of a country, leading all the way up to basically what led to today, which I think started in 1976. That is when the Swedish identity was politically scrapped.
Right.
Because that's when the government decided, the parliament decided for the people that, the Swedish identity needs to go. We need to be a multicultural country like the US.
Right.
Which is bonkers when you think about it. Especially if the people didn't have any part in choosing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it was barely mentioned in the news at that time, because news media goes hand in hand with politics in Sweden.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. You have
and in that way, not a lot of the outside world found out either.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably the first time I've ever heard about this event that happened.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
I mean, it's fucking sick, because how can you decide, as an elected one of the people, that the people that has elected you, that their identity need to be eradicated?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you come to the conclusion that you can decide that?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's pretty extreme.
It's not only extreme. It is. I'm lacking words that can describe how disgusted I am by this decision made of very few people.
And nowadays, we're still seeing now. I mean, I've heard about that whole Swedish identity thing. But I did not know, when it was enacted and that it was the government that decided without the people. having a say.
There was no election about it.
I watched a video the other day. I don't know if it was you who showed me. It could have been you. But I watched a video about there are a lot of Swedish youth who are very, very against cultural integration.
You mean the video with the former youth league of the Sweden Democrats?
Could be.
Yeah, they were kicked out partly because of that. Because the youth league, the former youth league of the Sweden Democrats in Sweden, had loads of issues with racism, and well,
the video I saw, they were totally racist against the immigrants that had come in. They were really racist, and they didn't want to go in that part of town. And they said, I don't like, if I wasn't a Swede and I came here, I wouldn't think that this was Sweden because of all the Farsi, not Farsi. No, it was Farsi. All the Farsi that's on the.
But here's the thing, the point that they're trying to convey, you can't understand that without having lived in Sweden next to one of these neighborhoods that are basically cultural and political failure on behalf of the Swedish politicians. I'm nothing against people coming from Africa or the Middle East seeking the new luck in Sweden. I think it's fucking great. We can learn loads from each other. What is an issue is when the government basically says that no, we can't demand anything from these people, we can just give them stuff because it is our duty. They made that decision.
I see.
And
excuse me.
Because of this, you had to establish an integration policy, which was meant to be that immigrants coming from, what is generally referred to the third world, when they come to Sweden, they need to learn Swedish, and they need to educate themselves, and they need to live among other Swedes. This didn't happen, because what happened is that each municipal government, they get a certain amount of money from the nationwide government based on how many immigrants they take. And they then have to place these immigrants wherever there is room. And of course there is houses everywhere that is empty. That's the way it is, but that is private property. The state cannot buy that. The municipal government cannot buy that.
I see.
But what they are doing is that they find the cheapest area to place them. This is the least attractive area in the entire town. Let's place them all there. So basically what has happened is that there's been established communes.
Sort of little slums.
They have become slums. Because basically what happens is that when you isolate a group of people that way, they will start to distrust anything that has to do with the country that has failed them. After making these fucking great big promises. And this is why you have these problematic areas. We have 55 no-go zones. Last there was a count in Sweden, which is mainly run by immigrant gangs.
Wow.
It's tribalistic justice in there. Police doesn't enter, rescue services doesn't enter, municipal traffic doesn't enter, nothing enters.
Oh my God.
Because as soon as you're there, you're outside of Swedish jurisdiction.
Oh my God, wow. That is.
It's the way South Central was back in the day.
Well,
the Boys in the Hood.
Sure. I mean, that's just unreal. I don't know. I didn't know it was actually that severe.
It is that severe in Sweden. Wow. And that is the fucking issue that has been created by a very white guilt-driven immigration policy. Because the thing is, Sweden wasn't in Africa. We didn't take slaves to Sweden. We've had certain racist jargon. We have this pastry, which is basically a chocolate ball that is rolled in either pearl sugar or coke. What do you call it?
Cocoa?
Yeah, cocoa flakes.
Yeah.
And it consists of coffee and some other shit. And it was called the N-word ball.
No fucking way.
It was.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling that's what it was going to be called.
This was very jokingly, established. And I get it. You shouldn't call it the N-word ball. Because it's just stupid, especially when we have Africans in Sweden as of now. It's very unnecessary. I mean...
unethical, too. Especially if not that it would be okay if there weren't Africans and black people living there, but still, you know, it's
but it's like a relic of an old age.
Right. Yeah.
Of when we didn't know better. Because I mean, I don't know when this pastry came about, but it is actually quite fun.
Yeah.
To have that history about a pastry, that something as little as a pastry is a sensitive fucking subject.
Yeah.
I mean, only in Sweden.
I mean, think about what it's called, though, Frederick. You know, it's sensitive because of the name.
The thing.
You know,
that's the thing. But just the fact that we've had a controversy about a pastry.
Yeah.
I mean, where else than Sweden?
Yeah.
But I get all of that.
I got the joke. Where else than Sweden? Because it's a pastry, and I can't. Yeah. Okay.
but you know, basically, what has happened is that this political correctness has become an altar. It's become something holy. And what is happening now is that you have people that come from troubled areas where rape is an actual form of warfare between people.
Yeah.
Is an actual way of establishing dominance. And you have people like that coming in with the immigrants, and they are just placed wherever there's room now, because that's how dire the situation is. And you have, in big air citation mark, immigrant children, supposedly under the age of 18, with full fucking beards and thinning hair and shit, that are put in fucking junior high school. And it's rape cases in junior high school of these men that is raped, you know, fucking almost prepubescent girl. There are cases where people have been raped outside of asylums, you know, refugee works, twice. There was a lady, she was raped once, and then as she was running away from that rape, she was assaulted and raped again.
This is a Swedish woman?
Yes, a Swedish woman.
Wow.
These are the people that are sacrificed on an altar of political correctness, because people are too afraid to be called a racist, because they're afraid to speak about the problem.
Yeah.
Because if you can't discuss the problem, how the fuck can you find a solution? I'm not saying that this is because they have brown skin. I'm just saying that this is what is born and bred in an area where rape is an actual form of establishing dominance.
Yeah.
In a fucking, say, civil war.
Yeah.
Like there is in Somalia.
Yeah.
Like there is in Eritrea. Like there is in Syria. You know, it's just these fucking sick crimes that they come carrying with them. Yeah. And nothing is done to help them. Because if you acknowledge the problem, you have a left wing in Sweden that will brand you a racist, a Nazi, and a neo-fascist.
Yeah. Wow. So it's just this vicious cycle of, oh, one of our own just got raped again. Well, what can we do? You know?
Yeah. And you know, you even have feminists in Sweden defending Muslims that rape Swedish women. They are starting to do the victim blaming thing. Wow. Yeah, what were you wearing? Oh, you were wearing a mini skirt while you were walking through this area? Well, you have to shoot yourself.
Wow.
Feminists are saying this in Sweden.
Yeah.
It's Absurdistan. It's no longer Sweden, it's Absurdistan.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm from Absurdistan, people, and I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to go back. I might go back, you know, to visit my mother, my siblings, some of my friends, my cats.
And when we go on vacation, then.
Yeah, I want to go back there on vacation.
I still want to see it, regardless of these areas.
Yeah, you should see the nature. You should see the old architecture.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But you don't want to live there. Just trust me on that. Whomever is thinking about moving to Sweden from the US because we're such a liberal and progressive country, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
If you get raped while being there, especially if you're white, and you are wearing a skirt, I think even if you're African American and being raped in Sweden, and you are wearing something, you will be asked, but why were you wearing that there?
Yeah.
You have to suit yourself. That is the feminist rhetoric in Sweden now.
Wow.
When the fuck did you expect that feminists would be doing the victim blaming?
Yeah.
And this is just a sign, because YouTube feminism takes after the very model that Swedish feminism does. And these people feed each other.
Yeah.
And they just keep on, you know, putting more and more exaggerations, more and more lies in these fucking Marxist magazines that they sit around reading.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the entire white race, that they call it, because, believe it or not, it's the left wing that wants segregation now. Black Lives Matter want race-based segregation.
In Sweden?
No, here in the US.
Oh.
This is just symptomatic because people look to Sweden as a shining fucking example. And they speak to crazy fucking Swedish feminists, and all of a sudden they go like, yeah, that's fucking brilliant. Let's do that here as well.
Yeah.
So you have these fucking cases where Black Lives Matter demands race-based segregation, a safe black space for black people only. Have everyone forgotten about Jim Crow?
Yeah.
Jim Crow, the fucking founder of the race-based segregation that was in effect after slavery was abolished. These are the guys that they are feeding into. Yeah. And I just don't understand it. Haven't they read a fucking history book?
Obviously not.
I mean, this is the fucking...
Or maybe they have and they don't see it as being the same.
But it is the same. It is exactly the same. Soon we will have blacks-only toilets, whites-only toilet, Asian-only toilet. Because here's the deal as well. None of the people from Africa that are here think that this is a good idea.
Yeah.
I've spoken with my roommate, Stephen, about it. And this is basically me trying to summarize what I got out of his opinion of it.
Yeah.
It was like, these people are retarded.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go like, yeah, I fully fucking agree. He was like, dude, why the fuck wouldn't I want to be with white guy, Korean guy, and, he goes on with all the fucking people that he knows and he hangs out with at school.
Yeah.
At fucking campus. And he has such a fucking good point. It is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you want to hang out with everyone? Because this is something that is mainly based on white guilt and the people of descent in the countries where these fucking crazy ideas are done. I mean, take the guy that was hunger striking as an example. What are you looking for?
My phone.
Oh, your phone.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh shit, I got some sort of message. It might be from Sean. Yeah. By the way, me and Sam are going to go and try our luck at a stand-up club.
Yeah? So, wish us luck, even though you'll hear this days after. But wish us luck from the future.
Definitely. Just keep us in mind.
A week after it's happened. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but...
I'm going to go pee, but I'm listening.
Okay. No, we'll take a pause. I need to pee as well.
Alright.
Alright, and we're back.
Hello.
No, I just pulled up an article here, and here's the thing. Facebook Sweden. There's been this case about a group rape in one of the parts of town in Stockholm.
Right.
And Facebook has blocked the news about this group rape.
Yeah.
Even though the news is both truthful and confirmed by the police. It was a 23-year-old woman the Swedish woman that was raped.
I see.
And in November, 3 refugee children. And these are, the refugee children with a question mark.
Yeah.
The people with the beards and the thinning hair.
Yeah.
That they have done this together with other people as well. I'm just translating it, that's why it's a bit skittish on it. But one of the guys was later freed in the second highest court of Sweden because there was no proof that he was over 15 years of age when the crime was done.
Oh my God.
Even though he said that he was a lot older when he applied for refugee status.
Wow.
And this news article has been blocked by Facebook in Sweden because the Swedish government and the Swedish media think that it's, it's a bit politically incorrect to speak about.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean when people are sacrificed on the altar of political correctness. That this shit is allowed to happen. I mean, there is a video of this guy when he enters Europe, when he laughingly says that he's, I think, 32. Which is just... It's just so fucking appalling.
Yeah.
That this is allowed to happen. And the only reason why it is allowed to happen is because of useful idiots that think that anyone who dares to criticize the way immigration is handled are per automatics racist because they just don't want brown people in.
Yeah.
Which is not the case. The case is that we need to speak about these issues so that we can take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just pisses me off to no end that this is allowed to continue, because I have a mother back home, I have a sister, I have a cousin that's female, I have female friends back home.
Yeah.
And many of these people that I have back home that I'm worried about, that I'm concerned about, are people themselves that are basically saying that you are not allowed to say this.
Yeah.
My mother's not saying it, my sister's not saying it. My sister, she is a bit caught up in the entire left-wing thing, but she's not an idiot.
Yeah.
She's actually smarter than I am in loads of cases. But anyway, certain of my friends that I'm worried about are people that would call me racist for saying just this.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. You know, it's nothing racist about saying that there is an actual problem. I mean, if you want to see rape culture, you should watch what is going on in Sweden. You don't have rape culture. You don't have a rape culture on college campuses in the US.
Yeah.
We have a rape culture going on in Sweden because we don't take care of the people that comes from very unstable areas where this is an acceptable mean of establishing dominance because they're in a civil war. We need to take care of that. We need to address that shit. Yeah. But as long as people need to be politically correct,
it won't be addressed.
It will never be addressed. Yeah. And the people that will address it, they will be ostracized.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that is why I'm pissed off at Sweden. That is why I don't want to go back there, because I can't stand seeing it. And I'm in no position where I want to become a politician either. Right. It's just too much responsibility. I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I have an idea, but I don't have the answers.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not the right person to lead a country, but the people leading the country now, they're fucking bigger morons than I am.
So you just flicked your cigarette over the car.
Yeah.
And I didn't see you flick it. And so by my window, I saw something that looked like a raindrop, but it was glowing orange. And it only took me about half a second to realize it was a cigarette, but for about half a second I was horrified and intrigued. And I was just like, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Anyway.
So that was what you reacted.
Yeah, that was it. Not your incredibly powerful statement. It was actually just the magical orange droplet from heaven. Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't blame you.
So, on a lighter note, than this, I think it's a high time we change the subject.
I think so.
I don't want to drone a little bit too long about this. I mean, obviously, I find it interesting. I could listen to you talk about this all the time, but for sake of variation, in the podcast, so I'm in a web series right now.
Yeah,
and I haven't talked about that.
No, you need to tell us about it.
Yeah, I thought it would be really cool to share about this web series. So, for a little while, my friend Ryan and I used to play a lot of Super Smash Bros. Or not used to, but still do. We play a lot of Super Smash Bros. And we started
this on GameCube. Right?
Yeah, on GameCube. Yeah, Super Smash Brothers Melee on GameCube. And we started. I think he started a little bit before me, but we started watching videos of like professional, competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee tournaments, and actually, they're fucking like exciting and cool, and like it's like watching a sport because the audience is there. There's usually two commentators.
They usually say whatever the fuck
they're thinking. Yeah,
because they are streaming it. They are usually the people streaming it, so they aren't worried about sponsors because the sponsors know what they're getting.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's a really interesting thing to like watch a stream, especially if there's really famous people playing. So we started watching those, and it was really interesting. And then about a month later, without really telling me that he was working on this, he told me, "Hey, so I have this idea, I have this concept," and I was like, "All right, lay it on me, dude." I trust his writing; he usually writes some pretty good stuff. So I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll hear him out." So the idea was following the story of a guy who got looped into a Super Smash Bros. Melee competition against his will, and ended up defeating like a king, like somebody who's number 7 in the world, and ended up just accidentally kicking his ass and getting, he got national. He's on stream and he doesn't realize he's on stream, and so 50,000 people that are watching this guy Zobtroff, who we ended up naming the antagonist, the guy who's the number 7 in the world. 50,000 people are watching Zobtroff get wrecked by a newcomer who no one has ever heard of. And so it's this story about, the media, starting to cover, like, this story, like, oh my gosh, this thing happened, like BuzzFeed. Because every now and then in the video game community, something will happen and people will be like, oh, okay, something crazy happened to the nerds. So he actually gets, like, media attention. There's, like, some paparazzi. And all these really famous people start, like, contacting him, like famous gamers start contacting him and trying to recruit him to get on a Smash team. And it's this crazy story about this guy, Robert, who gets looped into this thing. And I'm playing his best friend, Josh, who's very ADD, very, the sort of guy who drinks a lot of Mountain Dew and just is hyped all the time.
That is nice.
Yeah, and so it's a really interesting character, and it's really fun. And so, yeah, this story, it has a lot of heart. I don't want to spoil anything, just in case it actually does blow up. I don't want to,
yeah.
But there's, like, it gets dark. It starts off as a total light-hearted comedy with these totally lovable characters, and it's like, okay, this is for the nerds, but, later on, especially near the end of season 1, which we've already completely, we've brainstormed exactly how season 1's going to go, every single episode pretty much. We haven't written all of them, obviously, but we filmed the first 2, which is great. We have a little bit more to film in the second episode, but yeah, it is really, really incredible, and it's called 4-Stock. So if any of you listeners out there are gamers, just get hyped, because this is a series that gamers need. This is a series that gamers deserve. Obviously, there's movies and shit made for us, like Pixels, which was not, it was whatever. And then, Wreck-It Ralph, which is pretty much a kid's movie, and gamers aren't getting a lot of media.
No, but
not media as in, like, the media, but we're not getting a lot of, like, films or movies or things like that.
But at the same time, isn't the most important thing as a gamer to get good games?
Oh, sure. Sure, but I mean, variation is always nice. Variation is always cool, because there's always going to be the video games, but why not have a TV series or a Netflix series to watch that's, like, really true to the culture and really true to the game, and all the mechanics of it. Like, every single person who's playing one of the gamers in our series had to learn professional strategies like, wave dashing, L canceling. What?
I have no idea what you're talking
about.
Oh,
yeah, no, well, basically, with Super Smash Bros., there's a lot of exploits in the game's coding. Like, there's this thing called wave dashing, where there's a move where if you flick the left to right bumper while you're in the air, you'll do an air dodge.
All right.
Where if someone's swinging at you, you can dodge out of the way in the air. So I don't know who it was who figured out this technique, but if you do a short hop and press down immediately, and before you hit the ground, you do an air dodge, you'll slide across the floor or across the map. And so people do this wave dashing, and they can do it to get all the way across very quickly. They'll also do it to confuse their opponents, so the opponent doesn't know how to read them. That's called dash dancing, which is a part of, and it's, dash dancing is where you're just like, your character is just flipping out and doing, all these crazy things while you're waiting for your opponent to recover, so that your opponent cannot read you, because it's just, the character looks like it's having a little seizure on the stage. So I had to learn all of these things, and I'm still garbage at them because it's really hard to learn. It's really, like, it's very, very meticulous with your fingers, so but it's interesting. It's really interesting, and I think it's going to go well.
I hope so. I mean, I was like your first shoot,
and
you seem to have a good time.
He was there. He was one of the Frederick was one of the extras in the huge tournament where Robert beats Zobtroff, who is played by Jake. And Jake is just gonna kill it.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I forgot that Jake was in it.
Yeah, Jake is playing Zobtroff.
That's nice.
Which is awesome. And JP is playing JP and this guy. Oh man, I think his name is Anthony.
Yeah.
No, Anthony's saying it anymore. Or shit, I fucking said his last name.
Wait. I'll do. There, I'll find it. I'll chop out that bit.
Okay. Fuck. God damn it. I'll never learn.
Yeah, it's not Anthony.
No, it's not Anthony. It's a different guy. But anyway,
Yeah, I was having quite fun while doing that. I was only coming up with Steven's hats because you needed a bunch of fedoras and shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it started, but it was basically go over and stand there, and I was bored, so I started doing, like hip circles, and then I started...
Pelvic thrusts.
Yeah, just saying stupid shit, and I was grabbing a huge
dick. Because he wasn't mic'd at all, so what he's going to look like is out of focus in the background, just being a total cock.
Yeah.
And if you watch this, you'll be able to see him. You'll see our Frederick. He's huge, bearded, manly as fuck.
Did I have my beard then? I think that was during the time I was regrowing it.
Oh, maybe. Could have been. Yeah.
I think that might have been right after Cymbeline.
Oh yeah, you were shaved.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't have a big beard then.
Fuck.
But, yeah.
I'm in a film without a beard again. I don't like it.
You got to shave your beard the next time we do episode. Or yeah, we need some more crowd scenes for episode 1. So if you're gonna be in that,
I'm not shaving. Fuck that shit. I'm an extra. I'm not shaving.
Okay, all right. You'll just not have a beard in the first scene, and then
all of a sudden
grow
I
a
have
beard.
It. Yeah. It's like
cinema. What is it called?
Cinema magic.
No.
Plot hole.
Yeah. But there's a thing called.
I know what it's
like. Cinema mistakes or cinema.
It's continuation error or something like that.
No, continuity error.
Yeah,
continuity. But there's a website where these people called Cinema Something find all the mistakes in movies and stuff and exploit them and put them on the website. It's like I can't remember what it's called.
No, I don't know. But it's it's an extra. There is actually a guy in one film.
CinemaSins.
Yeah,
CinemaSins is what it's
there
called.
is actually a guy in a film that is standing there. He's famous now. I don't remember who it was, but he actually has his dick out in this mass shot.
Oh wow!
He has his dick out and he's standing jumps with his hand.
Oh yeah, I know what the movie you're talking about.
Which movie is it?
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it's a crowd scene in a basketball movie.
Yeah,
and the guy literally pulled. You see his dick just flop out, and then he starts jumping up and down.
Yeah, it's retarded fun.
Yeah. There's also one in Gladiator. Where they're in the Colosseum, and the gladiator the carts. What are they called?
Yeah, you see
the pump, the air pump that sends it flying. Yeah, and then in that same movie, in the crowd, there's a guy wearing like a jeans and a t-shirt and sunglasses and a ball cap. Yeah, and it's obviously one of the sound guys.
But you also have for Lord of the Rings, there was the car that was when they were hiding in the field.
There's a car?
There used to be. They edited it in so that it looks like it's chimney smoke.
Oh, I see.
They had to be clever about it, but there was a car coming down the dirt track when they were hiding.
Oh!
So you could see like this smoke cloud, like...
Yeah.
So what they did was that they cleaned that up a bit and left it in as, chimney smoke.
Yeah, interesting.
Let's see. There are so many funny... One of my favorites is a stormtrooper that bangs his head.
Yeah, well, they actually made a...
He got a concussion.
They made it canon, actually, because the stormtroopers are all Boba Fett. Or sorry, Jango.
No. The stormtroopers aren't. Only the clone.
Oh, the clone troopers are. Yeah.
The stormtroopers are fucking individuals. They're having
checks.
Yeah. If they were clones, they wouldn't.
Yeah. The clone troopers are. Sorry, but they're. Oh well, then I guess that theory sort of just collapsed on itself.
Yeah.
Because people said, Jango Fett or Boba Fett hits his head when he's escaping Jango Fett hits his head on the door of his ship as it's leaving. He goes boonk and he hits his head on it, and that
I don't know. I haven't seen the prequels.
Yeah, I think it's episode 2.
Yeah,
it's the Attack of the Clones. So he
fucking shitty.
He hits his head. He hits his head on the thing as a tribute to the stormtrooper. In the early movies, who hits his head.
That is just fanboy theory.
No. George Lucas actually put it in.
Ugh.
Yeah, George Lucas put him hitting his head because one of the stormtroopers.
He's such a git.
Yeah.
He's such a fucking git.
Yeah.
Fucking just watch Mr. Plinkett's Star Wars reviews.
Yeah.
Seriously, he will tell you exactly what is wrong with that film. I have.
It's episode 1, right?
He does all the 3 prequels.
Oh, okay. Episode 3 wasn't terrible.
It was the lightsaber battle, the big finish.
Yeah.
I was so bored watching that.
Yeah.
It was just, now they're jumping around, flying on these silly fucking robots across lava. What's wrong with just having 2 guys fencing for like a few minutes
I don't know.
until
I think they
one
might have
is
worried
dead?
that it would be anticlimactic.
No, this was anticlimactic because it was fucking bullshit. It was flawless choreography and not much emotion at all.
Yeah, they fixed that in the new one. This is not going to be a spoiler.
No, but
there's a lightsaber battle in the new one.
Several.
And there is. There's a lightsaber battle. God, words. There's a lightsaber battle at the end of the movie, and it's very just intense. And there's a lot of anger, and they're bashing it. It looks like an actual sword fight.
Yeah.
And that is what the prequels missed. It was just flawless, just dancing, ballet, and there's
Let's do like this. There will be some spoilers in here. We'll try to keep them as minor as possible. But if you haven't seen Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, my suggestion is leave the rest of this podcast alone.
Yeah, because we wanted to talk about Star Wars.
Just for the people. And then you can come back and listen to it if you feel like it.
Yeah, after you've seen the movie.
So, from here on in, there's spoiler warnings.
Okay.
Anyway, how great was the new film?
Incredible. It was absolutely incredible. It blew, because the thing is, everyone when it was first announced, Star Wars Episode 7, when it was first announced, I remembered all the hype for the prequels. Everyone was like, when the prequels came out, every single time people were just like, woo, Star Wars. And I remember people freaking out about Episode 3, like, we get to see how Darth Vader, becomes Darth Vader, we get to see all these things, and I was like, but
it was
you
one
remember...
of the dumbest scenes ever.
And it was like... No! Yeah, oh my god, we clipped. We really clipped.
That is okay, that isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I mean...
I said, hold on, wait. I didn't finish my thought. So, I remember, all the people getting so hyped about it, and I was like, but what about those... Episode 1 and Episode 2, like, wasn't that awful? Why do you think Episode 3 is going to be good? And then it wasn't. It was awful again. Yeah. And so now everyone was like, Episode 7, it's going to be incredible. And I'm like, do you not remember Episode 1, 2, and 3 and how you felt when those came out? And then what ended up happening, which is they were terrible. And I was like not against it, but I was like, don't get hyped again.
Yeah, don't get
hyped again, because you won't know.
Yeah, but here's the deal. When I stopped being skeptic was when the 3rd trailer was released and someone did a supercut. It was like 3 minutes worth of material all in all. And as I watched it, it looked right.
Yeah.
It looked gritty, it looked dirty. It looked as if there would be some pretty decent violence in it.
Yeah.
Which it was. So, about that time, I was like, okay, fuck my skepticism. Now I'm aboard.
Yeah. Even though I did see that too, and I was just like, honestly, they're just going to bring me up to let me down again. And they didn't. It was long story short, it was good. It
was a really good film. It was a great Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Especially considered the last 3 that we got. Yeah. Plus all the fucking bullshit alterations that George did to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And also, he lost the originals. So there is no way ever that we are going to get another unaltered version of the original trilogy.
Wow.
There is, however, a fan-made degradation of it back to its original, which I think is an upgrade.
Yeah.
That is available on several different torrent sites.
Cool.
Which is, for the true fanboys. I know a few people that got it, and I'm watching it with Alex.
Yeah. Okay.
My roommate.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, there is that. But what did you think of the main final fucking thing that happened on the walkway, on the catwalk?
Spoiler alert. This is the big one. If you have been listening and you haven't seen Star Wars, turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it off. We love you. We'll see you next time. Turn it off.
But
I think
dies.
Yeah, Han Solo dies. He gets stabbed by his son.
Which is a brilliant fucking writing move, by the way.
Because that sets up the same way Luke was set up with Uncle Owen dying. That sets up Rey and Finn. Yeah, and Ben Kenobi as well. You know, because... Actually, there's something before we get into Han Solo dying, there's something I've always been wanting to ask you, because everyone has different reasons, everyone has a different theory as for why this happened. Why do you think Obi-Wan sacrificed himself?
Why he did it? It's the heroic sacrifice. It is to give motivation. It is a very well-used plot device in that kind of film.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, you know...
But here it's genius for another reason, because it sets up Ben. In this case, Kylo Ren. I think that is a retarded name, by the way. Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Yeah. Well, the Rens are... He's Kylo Ren. And Ren is the title that he got. His master, the big alien dude...
Yeah.
His master says, oh, you know, he's one of the Rens. He mentions the Wrens being like a clan. I
didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's...
I never caught that, actually.
Yeah, he mentions a clan that Ben was put into, and they named him Kylo Ren.
Are you sure this isn't expanded theories?
No. I caught this in the movie.
Huh. I missed that.
There's a little bit of dialogue where he and Kylo and the general are speaking about, and also Han and Leia talk about how he went to the Wrens.
No, he went to Luke's Jedi Academy.
Yeah, and then he killed all of them, or he toppled it.
Yeah, in some way or other.
And then he went to the Wrens.
By the way, Luke Skywalker, in the end, you know why he's turned that long before he turns around?
He's probably, I don't know, why?
He's taking a piss.
Oh, yeah, he's pissing off the edge. Yeah.
He's taking a piss over the edge. And as she comes up, he's like, oh, fuck, I thought I was able to do this. That is why he has that grim look in his face when he turns around like...
I see. It does kind of look like he's taking a piss. Yeah. And I like how they said, oh, Mark Hamill's going to be in this movie, too. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, I've never seen Mark Hamill act since Star Wars, and I can't wait to hear his voice outside of, you know, the Joker from Arkham Asylum. And they didn't say shit. And I got to wait until next November.
It was, 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, next year they release how they got the Death Star plans.
Oh, I see.
Or if it is the Starkiller plans. I don't remember. It's basically a heist film, and it is speculation that it's going to be like Ocean's 11 in space.
Cool.
That is at least my hope. Because if they were able to combine the sci-fi elements of Star Wars with the wit and the comedy of Ocean's 11... Yeah. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Star Wars universe is so expansive. There's so much you can do with it than what they have done.
But the genius with the way Han dies is that his own son kills him in front of Finn and Rey.
And Chewbacca.
Yeah,
poor Chewie.
Yeah, I mean...
I love the revenge killing that Chewie goes on after, though. That's the most character development Chewie has ever had. That moment where he's just blasting and killing and just like maiming these stormtroopers, just one by one, just wrecking them.
Yeah,
and I was just like, that's the first time I ever really cheered for Chewie. You know?
Yeah, because, but the brilliance of this is Ben will never be completely redeemable in Finn and Rey's eyes.
Yes.
He might be redeemable, but he needs to die. That is the way I see this going. Secondly...
Kylo Ren, he needs to die.
Secondly, as an audience member, he killed off one of the most charming characters ever created for a sci-fi film.
Yeah, or just in film.
Yeah.
Just in film.
And it's basically because it was fucking Harrison Ford. But, I mean, this is so fucking brilliant, because there is no way the audience is going to waste any sympathies
on Kylo Ren.
Yeah, there will be the few people that sort of sympathize with
he has Darth Daddy issues, you know? Yeah.
There will be those people, of course, but, you know, fuck them. And also something, I mean, the fact that they did a bigger Death Star, that is fan service. That is pure fan service. You know, we need to set this back on track.
Yeah.
But the shit that happened on this fucking Starkiller planet, the battle between Finn and fucking Ben, and then fucking Rey and Ben.
Yeah.
That was something that disturbed me a little bit in the beginning, was when she all of a sudden knew how to use the lightsaber.
Yeah, the lightsaber and the Force.
Yeah, she closes her eyes and then she opens them up,
and she knows.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Well, I think that that has rang true. Because Obi-Wan died far earlier than his training with Luke would before he could teach Luke pretty much anything really. And then he trained with Yoda, and then Yoda died before the training was complete. And obviously there was training.
And this was what struck me, after the first 2 seconds of, that's a bit. And then I thought those thoughts. And I was like, it actually
it runs in the family.
It makes sense within the logic of this
And the thing
universe.
is, with the Force, she did not, lift a plane or do, all the things that Luke could do later on.
Yeah.
After being in all... she had simple... very simple understanding of the Force.
Yeah.
And, you saw her fail twice at the Jedi mind trick and then succeed.
Yeah.
And she catches on so quickly that she doesn't even have to focus for the second half of the mind trick where she tells him to drop his weapon.
I really like her as a protagonist.
Oh, definitely. Rey is just incredible.
And I also...
Very charming, very cute, very... Yeah.
No,
she has the same charm as Luke.
Yeah, definitely. And I hate the people that goes, but she's so whiny. Yeah, why do you think?
Luke was whiny too,
it's
man.
called a fucking story arc.
Yeah.
You cannot start out with the badass without the journey to the badassery.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course she's gonna be a bit whiny, pubescent,
But is she at the end? No, she's the fucking pilot of the Millennium Falcon with Chewie. She's a bamf at the end.
Yeah.
She flies off. She is the new captain of the Millennium Falcon. Like, who wouldn't want her to be?
I think she's the co-pilot, and I think Chewie is...
Chewie, yeah. Well, Chewie's sitting in the co-pilot seat.
Yeah, but that's just a seat.
Yeah, true.
That's where he used to fly.
Yeah.
But, I think she has great potential for character development. And also, I have a theory about this, which is very speculative.
Yeah.
It is that most likely she was part of Luke's Jedi Academy. And then when Ben went apeshit, and started killing the other people, and he disbanded the entire thing, he probably left her where she couldn't be found because he knew about Project Starkiller.
Yeah.
Just to spread out the entire remnant of the Order, and on top of that, did some sort of Force shit on her brain so that she would forget.
Yeah, because the thing is, her backstory is still quite vague.
Yeah.
You don't know who left her there.
Yeah,
it could have been Luke who left her there.
I think it's Luke, and I also think it's Luke's daughter.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. I completely agree. Well, it's... there's a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
She's very in tune with the Force. She saw a flashback of him with R2. And Kyle, like the Kylo Ren thing going on. She saw Ren.
Yeah.
And she has a connection. She totally has a connection.
She definitely has. And I think this is going to be the reveal. But I think it will be early on in the next episode, in episode 8. It will be like, I am your father.
Yeah.
It won't be, no, I am your father.
It won't be like that.
No, but it will be, I am your father. And she will be, and all of a sudden she will have this fucking piece of the puzzle kicking in place.
She'll be Padawan, and he will be the master.
Yeah. And most likely, I also think it's a generational shift as well. That is why they brought in all of the old actors.
Yeah.
It's to hand over the reins.
I think, well, not only that, I think, Luke is probably going to die during this, which is okay.
Yeah. Either that or he's going to be a background character.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think he will. I mean, you got Luke. I mean, I think he'll be as relevant as Obi-Wan.
Definitely, but not in the same way.
Yeah.
He I don't think he will do much battle. I think he might intervene at some point.
They're gonna have to show him in a battle, though.
Wait. He's gonna face off against the Supreme Leader.
Oh, totally.
He's going to be the one.
It's going to be Luke Skywalker versus the giant alien dude. Yeah.
While Rey takes care of Ben.
Yeah.
What do you think about Finn? Do you think Finn is Force sensitive and is going to become a Jedi as well?
Oh, I totally think he's going to become a Jedi.
I mean,
either that or he's going to become because he's a natural with weaponry.
Yeah.
He learned how to, he'd only used a blaster before, and then he blew the shit out of the fucking the Imperial Star Destroyer using the TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
And he just blew it to shit. And then he was, he was in the Millennium Falcon, and he did really well there. I think he's going to become a Han Solo type, and he's just going to be a G with the blasters.
Yeah. I hope that he's not going to be the next Jedi. I hope that he's going to... he's definitely gonna get some fucking cybernetic implants.
Yeah.
First time I saw it, it looked like he was gutted along the spine, and I was like, shit. Yeah. That I saw it first time. I've seen it twice. I had to rewatch it.
Yeah.
First time I saw it in 3D, and I didn't catch all the details because 3D is shit.
Yeah.
But basically, I thought his spine was fucking slashed.
Yeah. I thought he was dead for sure.
Yeah, but then you see it, and it's basically across the left side of his back, like severed a couple of ribs and the shoulder blade, something like that.
And I think it did hit his spine too, so we'll see where that goes.
No, but he's definitely
also differences between Kylo Ren's lightsaber and Luke's. Do you like the way Kylo Ren's looks with the gritty sort of sharp?
Spiky I actually know the in-universe explanation for that. It's an unstable crystal. And it can flicker off at certain points as well.
Oh, like it did when it was pushed into the ground too much. It flickered off.
Yeah. But I mean, the design makes sense within the universe because you have a lightsaber whip as well.
Yeah.
As an alternative in not in games but in books and in the role-playing games.
So with the crystal that's not perfect, it's more.
Yeah. No, and I mean the fucking crossbar design. Personally, I find it quite moronic because what use do you have for it except that one time when he actually uses it? Apart from that is
I think its use is for if someone tries to slide down the lightsaber to chop off your arm. It's the same way with the greatsword.
Yeah,
it has those things there that will block the blade from hitting your hand.
That would make perfect sense if it was at the same spot. But if you watch the actual design of it, it is a stick. It's like a cross.
Yeah.
So basically, you have lenses and shit, and then you have the small blades.
Yeah.
So if someone slides down, they'll
chop off the lens.
Yeah.
With the I see. Yeah.
So I mean that is purely a device for when you lock swords with each other, so that you can do the shit that he did, where he fucking pushed it into the shoulder.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's just in the way.
Yeah.
And I think
it definitely is also sinister, and it could be a movie.
It looks badass.
It looks really badass, and I think it could even, with theories aside, I think it could just be a movie plot to make him look more evil.
Yeah, I think that's the deal. But shit, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and if you made it this far, you are our favorites.
Yeah. And anyway, speak to you guys next time.
We love you.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Hedonist Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, which is twitter.com/The Hedonist Pod. And until next time, go fuck yourself.